It is January 22nd, almost 8 a.m., and here we go. Good morning, good day, good evening. Wherever you are, we hope you're having a great one. It is January 22nd, about 8 a.m. Pacific time. Right next to me over here is our blonde goddess, the Schreckster herself, Gina Schreck. Hey, Gina, how's it going today?
I'm doing great. I love all the titles I get here. Yeah, I'm doing great. And welcome to everybody who's tuning in live. And don't forget, if you log in, then you can chat along with us and throw out questions or just heckle us in the chat room.
And we heard that this morning there is a secret word, which I seem to be the only one who doesn't know.
Yeah, Rick does not know our secret word, today's secret word. And the key is Rick has to say the secret word because I know it. So I will say the secret word in the show.
And it's not Pinterest.
No, it's not. Now, next week, you guys, this is now Larry. I know you're live in the chat room. Larry, we are throwing down the gauntlet because next week, no, not next week. I'm sorry. It's not until February 5th, or whatever that Tuesday is. Is that the 5th?
I think it's the 4th.
We have Melissa Taylor who's joined us, who just wrote a book about Pinterest, and so she'll be on the show. And so you guys have until February, the first week of February, to get your Pinterest act together. Rick and Larry, I know you're already ahead because you have a Pinterest account.
So do I. I have a Pinterest account.
Zen like and empty?
Mine's about as empty as Larry's.
Okay, yeah.
Well, I don't know. I haven't seen Larry. He may have added some more Zen stuff to it.
Yeah, well, we'll see. Well, I'm going to be checking up on you guys and get your Pinterest boards going. So, yeah, Melissa will join us. But next week is exciting because we have Marty McPadden, who for years worked for ESPN, and his wife, Misty, on Twitter. She's Misty Girl PH, and they have a company called Pod Jam, and very active in social media, and we're going to have some fun with them. But today, it's interesting, Rick, because last week, I believe we ended last week's show with a bet because we were wondering, as we were doing our show, an hour later, Facebook was going to do the big announcement.
Right.
And, it's kind of like the Lance Armstrong thing. We've heard so much about Facebook, social search, and social graph, and, maybe we're all so tired of it already. But after a week of figuring out, okay, what it is, what it means to businesses, and what it means to us personally, do you have any thoughts on that? Any enlightenment, oh wise one?
No, actually nothing at all.
Nothing. It's kind of like your Pinterest board?
Yeah. Though I have to admit, I have gotten more into Facebook over the last couple of weeks, I guess because a lot of people are sending me private messages, and that's forcing me to get onto the site, and then I'm doing more communicating on Facebook, which I don't do. It's funny, I like Google Plus better, but I'm never there. I haven't quite figured that one out yet, but nobody seems to be there. So, I mean, everybody posts to it, but I don't see any conversations. I don't think I've ever gotten a note on Google Plus, so it's a little odd.
Yeah, see, I get a lot of notifications on Google Plus, but typically it's somebody posting something that they say they want their network to see, so they'll kind of tag you in it. But, I said I believed that Facebook was going to announce that they were going to be rolling out their own search engine.
Right.
That's kind of what I was thinking. So I was close without going over. So on Price is Right, I would have won.
Well, it was sort of like an advanced search, right?
And here's what's interesting. Now, right away, I thought, this is kind of a disappointment as far as an announcement. Not so exciting. What does this really mean? But after really digging into it and trying to understand what it means for businesses as well as individuals, I have realized a few things. Number one, for all the businesses who have done their duty, who have spent the hours building their company pages on Facebook, they will be rewarded because you'll have more fans who will have liked your page and hopefully engage with your page, that when somebody is doing a search on Facebook for, does anyone know of a great place haircut in Denver, then Rooster's haircut place, who's active on Facebook, is going to come up in that search, hopefully, because they've done the pre-work. So, you know, I look at it and say the cool thing is you can do a search and say, you know, show me photos from my friends who have visited Denver, and it'll pull photos. So you can already see that that could be a scary thing if you're an individual who happens to have pictures when you were in Denver.
Now, has that been rolled out already?
It's starting to roll out. So they're doing it in waves.
Okay.
And they'll be, you know, as they roll it out, they'll be testing it as they go and hearing the gnashing of teeth and wailing going on by people as they do it. Usually that's how it happens on Facebook. And then they get the feedback and they tweak a few more things and tweak a few more things. But what's interesting is for a business, I look at it and go, now's the time. If you've been dragging your feet, or maybe you have a Facebook page, but you've still not really done a whole lot with it, now's the time to start looking at, how do I really target people that can purchase from me? So, you know, maybe I want to start doing some real targeted advertising on my Facebook page to drive some people and engagement to that page, so that when social search rolls out and fine tunes, my business will show up in those in their social graph. I also want to spend time really finding out from my fans that are on my page, you know, who's happy with this, who's tried your service. How do you really focus some attention, I think, right now on getting that fan engagement that can help you when someone does a social search that's in their social circle. For an individual, there's a couple things that we have to be aware of. Number one, you know, and I said right away, go into your photos and really make sure all your photos are set the way you want them to be. If, you know, I always say never post anything you don't want out in the public anyway. I think it's kind of weird that people post stuff and then they're freaked out that the world might see it. Why'd you put it on Facebook? But let's say that you have some photos that you thought only your friends would see. Be careful, because those photos might show up in a search that someone does in their social circle. So go through your photos and clean them up, or put them in a photo album that's secured, so you can actually put photo albums and set the privacy settings so that that one's not shared in public. Another thing is that most people don't realize, go into your Facebook account and there is an activity log. Everything that you've ever posted on Facebook is in this activity log. Anything you've ever done, if you've liked a page that maybe is not representing your personal brand as much as you'd like, you might want to delete that activity. So let's say that you liked, I'm trying to think of something that might be embarrassing now. Seeing, because Larry and I were talking about Pee Wee Herman. Let's say that you liked Pee Wee's, let's say you like Pee Wee Playhouse show. Although, see, I'd be proud of that. That's my Pee Wee laugh that the girls always want me to do. But let's say that you like that and you commented something that maybe not appropriate. Let's just throw that out there. If that activity is there and then somebody does a social search, show me all my friends who like Pee Wee's Playhouse. You're going to come up. Your activity is going to show. So you can go into your activity log and kind of do a clean sweep. There's little X's next to each activity, and you can delete out activity that pages, maybe bars or places that, you know, Rick, that you're hanging out at. You know, maybe you could go in and delete it. I don't know. But
I don't hang out.
Yeah. I always say, you know, again, if you're on Facebook, everything you do can come up somewhere. So act in such a way that you would not be embarrassed if somebody did a social search and your activity came up.
So what you're saying, it's going to get ugly.
It could be for some people. I look at it going,
people,
you know,
yeah.
we're talking about that, but I think it could be embarrassing for some people.
Yeah, you're probably right.
So now's the time, before it completely rolls out, spend some time on Facebook going through your privacy settings again, and in that activity log area, which is in your settings. You know. It's time.
Now, is one supposed to be 18? Is to be on Facebook?
13.
Or 13? Okay.
Yeah. Which most kids will lie when they sign up for Facebook. And you see kids 10, 11, 12 that are on Facebook. And they put a fake age. The thing that we learned, because the Schrecklet did that, but she kind of did it with my permission. She was 11 or 12. And let's say that you are under 18 and you create a Facebook page and you say that you are 15. You cannot go in and change the age on your Facebook account until that age is over 18 now, the age that is in Facebook. So it's kind of a weird thing that we ran into, and Bailey had to wait until her fake age hit over 18 so she could change it to her real age, which is 16. Yeah, weird.
Those are those horrible life dilemmas, aren't they?
You know, they are. They're dilemmas now that we have to all be aware of. And what are we putting out there on social? Yeah,
it gets scary.
Now, here's something else to keep in mind. Remember, Facebook bought Instagram. So, does that mean that our Instagram photos will be part of this social search? It's possible, which freaks some people out. Again, I'm not sure why people would be posting pictures. But, you know, for a while, Instagram, for me, was very separate from... I used it kind of as a cool, I'm outside, there's a lot of wildlife out here in Colorado, and I'm always taking cool pictures. Really had nothing to do with my business. So, and most people saw Instagram as a separate artistic way to share their photos. Now, Facebook owns Instagram. Those photos will, inevitably, I can't imagine why they wouldn't, become part of this whole social graph.
Yeah, it probably would. Hey, by the way, you put a cool picture out yesterday of 2 bucks. Were they in your backyard?
Yeah, they were actually right around the side of our house. There's a golf course right here, and it's filled with deer. But what's interesting, there were actually 6 bucks, all big bucks laying on the grass together.
They look huge.
Hanging out. It was on Sunday. Yeah, they were huge.
Now, are they fairly safe?
Well, they're safe except for mountain lions, coyotes, and people who run them over with their cars.
Right. No, but I'm saying they're not going to come up to you, or will they come up to you?
Are we safe from them?
Yes.
Yeah, I've never had. Well, I've told you, we've had deer come to our back door and I've fed them, which is probably not. And I have seen them like attack each other.
Okay.
But I don't think anybody's. Although I do have a friend that said one charged at her, but she probably did something.
Scared him or something.
Yeah. So what do you think? I mean, social search, I think it's anybody in the chat room worried about what they've posted or concerned about this whole thing? Any gnashing of teeth going on?
I think as long as you maintain a certain modicum of
intelligence,
wisdom, intelligence, you probably have nothing to worry about.
That's why I'm always.
So that means about 80% of the people are panicking right now.
But another opportunity as a parent to have these conversations with our kids of what does this really mean? And, again, usually as a parent, we're like, just don't post anything inappropriate. Tell them why. Like, what happens when somebody does a search? I mean, we're always talking in our house. What happens if somebody Googles your name and clicks on images? What images are tagged, even if they're not of you? What images come up when I type in your name and click images? And, we talk about monitoring your Google tracks. And we do that on a regular basis. I mean, Bailey's 16, so we're but she's always telling her friends this. Google your name, click on web, click on images, see what's out there, tag. Now on Facebook, it's same thing. Type your name in the search and see what comes up when this rolls out. Because
well, couldn't somebody just type your name on anything and say, I mean, isn't that also one of the problems?
Well, see, let's say that I'm not connected with you, Rick. So you and I are not connected on Facebook.
Yeah.
I'm connected with Krista, your daughter. And I type in, who knows martial arts in California, because maybe I'm looking for a martial arts school. Your information could come up in that search because through the connection with Krista, it could pull your information. So let's say that there's a photo of you at a martial arts tournament or something. That could come up. Now, maybe, again, if you are wise, those photos won't be bad. If I say, and what's cool about this feature is if I say, I'm going to be in Ohio and I want to know a great place to have dinner, I can type in on Facebook, not on Google, on Facebook, who of my friends live in Ohio know a great place to eat? And you can questions like that, and your social search will search your friends in Ohio and pull up restaurants that they may have tagged.
Interesting.
Square or Instagram.
You know what I really don't like? The one feature where it says people nearby you and it shows everybody who's around you. And I think, that's got to be one of the worst security things on earth.
You have control. You can turn that off.
You can turn that off, but it's still kind of an odd thing. I don't think most people even realize that that's going on.
Right.
And it can lend itself to so many weird people out there that you just kind of go, okay.
Yeah. L.A. Goldstein, tell me your first name in the chat room. I'm L.A. Goldstein in the chat room says, what are some examples of the types of people we should be concerned about? It's interesting. I always say...
Lisa Goldstein?
Is that Lisa? Yeah, it is Lisa. Hi, Lisa.
Hi, Lisa.
It probably, I always say kind of scary, but I think some people we should be concerned about is our kids. Because, again, people who don't think, people who overshare, people who post. But then I look at it and go, as long as my content is set the way I want it shared, I'm okay. I think we should be concerned about family members who aren't maybe tech savvy enough to go in and spend time looking at privacy settings, setting up your photos that you load into photo albums, and maybe this album is public. This album I only want my family to see.
Now, what happens with teens a lot with the sexting? Can they also upload those pictures to Facebook? I mean, they could technically, right? There's nothing.
I got banned from Facebook for 24 hours for posting a picture of a little 2-year-old sitting on a potty chair.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It's pretty good.
You're lucky the FBI didn't come after you.
I was waiting. They were gonna duct tape my hands together or something.
Do you realize in California, if you, for some odd reason, you're just out somewhere where there's no bathroom, there's nothing, and somebody has to go to the bathroom somewhere, you're considered a sex offender. I was going, what if you have a real major accident?
As it should be.
I guess it's just kind of weird, but. I wouldn't consider that a sex offender. I would consider that somebody. Okay, there probably could be a sex offender, but what if you really are having an accident, incontinence, whatever? I don't know. It's just kind of a strange thing to label somebody. And of course, if you're in public, I mean, if you go try to hide behind something, at least I don't know. That just seems like a weird one.
Yeah. Well, and Facebook. I'll tell you, I know firsthand. The Facebook police monitor. They actually hire a third-party company, and I want to say it was a company in India. I'm not positive, but I think that's when I was researching this, of what happened, why did I get banned, that actually is scanning Facebook photos that get loaded, and any photo of, and they're real specific. There's certain things that if this shows, but yet if somebody's beating someone up and that picture's on Facebook, that's not banned, but a little child on a potty chair is banned. So that's definitely something that will be, you'll get banned, where you can't post anything, you can't have any activity on Facebook for however long. I just talked to someone who sent me a message on my blog and asked about this, because they were banned, she said, for 30 days. And I said, what did you do? She was banned for spamming activity. And she wasn't spamming, she was connecting with too many people. So she was sending friend requests.
And that's considered spamming.
Because, think about it. If you have people that you don't know, and when you get a friend request, you can say, I don't know this person. And Facebook will ask at times, do you know this person outside of Facebook? And if you say no, and if that person gets several of those, you'll get dinged, like LinkedIn.
I don't know. I'm still having a horrible idea of India monitoring the pictures. Hey, Vish, what do you think this is? I don't know. Let's ban it. I don't know.
You got to be careful what you post. So, Lisa, actually, good point. Perhaps potential employers would be another example, because we've been preaching that for a long time. Employers always do a Google search. They search on LinkedIn. Now, that's a good point. They can search on Facebook and see what comes. Now, again, currently, I can do a search. I always do this with, and I illustrate this with my daughter's friends. I said, if I type in your name on Facebook, let's see what I'm able to see on your profile. And it'll bring up the list of all their friends. It'll bring up all their photos. And they think that their profile is secure. So, like always, I just say it's time to revisit our private parts on Facebook.
That's
and
one
really
way to
get
put
those
it.
tight.
That's one way to put it. Yep.
Yeah, check your private parts.
Check your private parts.
Now, some other news on LinkedIn.
That could get you in trouble in California, so don't do it.
Just not in California.
Not in California.
On LinkedIn, I don't know if you've ever used the feature called Answers. On LinkedIn, you could go into Answers, and you can, which is a weird thing because you could go into Answers and ask a question. But it was a place where you could type a question, and the community, and it could be anybody that you're connected with or not, could see that question and provide expertise to answer your question. And then you, who posted the question, would vote on who had the best answer.
Interesting.
And that person would collect kind of expertise points because they answered the most questions and got ranked high as an expert in that area.
I don't know. Do you like that? I think that sort of demeans people who may be trying to help someone out, and then you got somebody who's just putting out a lot of stuff and maybe gets a lot of votes. I don't know. It just doesn't seem like useful a feature.
It's because only people who were real savvy marketers, they knew how to work the system.
Right.
And our team was one of them. I mean, our job was for our clients every day go on LinkedIn and see who has posted a question in the category of your client. See, can you answer that question for them and be a resource? So on one hand, you're just trying to be helpful. You're definitely never selling to them. But your goal was to be kind of one of the first few people to answer a question.
Sure.
And to be ranked as this was a great answer so that you would be coming up higher in searches. Well, LinkedIn got rid of the whole feature, the answers feature.
Oh, they actually got rid of it? Was that recently?
Yeah, just I think this week. Maybe it was last week. But I was kind of disappointed, even though, like you said, I did see that people were the savvy marketers.
They were kind of gaming it a little bit.
And they gamed it, if you want to call it game, but they jumped in early. But if I was really an expert in something, but I just happened to see a question that I could answer, 20 people may have already answered that. So I'm not going to, I don't know. It's interesting. That's why I was asking folks this past week, who was using it? Because the reason LinkedIn got rid of it was because they said it was an underused feature.
Underused, okay.
People just were not really using it.
Well, there are some expert sites out there, which some of them are, I think most of them are free. There are some that are for pay, but some of them are pretty good. I mean, it's a way to get an answer for something that you just may not figure out. Now, I went to one site that one of our dogs had a problem on a Sunday, and we were trying to figure out what do we do with her. We didn't think it was worth taking her to emergency because I don't think it was that, but it was just a question of what it was. I think it was something she ate. And I went to one of those and I asked the vet, and it was helpful, but then I got a nonstop barrage of spam from that site saying, has your question been answered? Yes, it was answered 400 times ago since you've asked me that question. And they just never stop. And eventually I think I finally put them in filters for junk mail. And it went away, but it was nonstop. And you go, wait a minute, I paid $15 and I got to answer this for the next 300 how many times? It got a little weird.
I paid $15 for that answer.
Yeah.
I mean, there are lots of sites. I always say, first place I go if I have a question, I go to Twitter. I put the question out on Twitter or on Facebook. Last week, as a matter of fact, I was working with Amanda on our team, and I said, gosh, I just need to find a great graphic artist that can I have a couple PDF articles and white papers that I needed prettified. I just wanted them to look cleaner and have our logo put on there right, and I just didn't want to do it. And so I just went to Facebook and I said, who knows of a graphic artist that could do some simple things? Literally, and Amanda and I were laughing, going, oh my gosh, within like 3 minutes, we had a list of more graphic artists than I could possibly contact. So, think of your resources that you have. Twitter, I've had lots of great questions answered by strangers on Twitter. Now I'm just like,
did you just post a question? It's just like posting a status? Is that how you did it?
On Facebook, I just did it as a status. Does anybody know which, by the way, is a great search column on, you may want to do a Google alert or maybe on Hootsuite or TweetDeck when you have a column. Do a column and just put in quotation marks. Does anyone know a great, and fill in the blank with your skill? Because if somebody asks that question out there on Twitter or Facebook, see, it won't pull on Facebook into Hootsuite or TweetDeck. It'll pull from the Twitterverse. Anybody who asks that question, it'll pop up, and then you can jump in and answer it. So I think that's a great thing. See, Larry said he had a similar situation with a horse. Asked a question, and then he's still getting responses.
Wait a minute. Larry was asking for a great horse?
Does anyone know? He had a question about a horse and still getting responses. Yeah. So that's true. It's like then people bug you because they keep sending you stuff. It's like, all right, that was 6 months ago. I'm done. You know,
Now, my question is, was Larry wearing his Viking cap when he was on that horse or looking for the horse?
Keeps getting answers as people say,
yeah.
Who doesn't want to help a guy in a Viking helmet?
I mean, really, it's just...
Okay, so Rick, what do you think this is?
Let's see. Well, I'm going to show it again. I'm not sure. What is it?
It's a Nike Fuel Band.
Oh, that's the Fuel Band.
They're not new. They've been around for a long time. Kirk has actually had one for maybe 6 months or so. I just got this one yesterday. But it's pretty cool. Now, for anybody who's trying to just become more active.
Now, you want to show it again?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
You can answer this question for Rick, but wait 6 months and then answer him. So what you do, so when I push the button once, it's going to tell you how much fuel I've burned so far. So far, I have 251 points. My goal is 2,000 at the end of the day. You set a goal of 2,000, 3,000, or 5,000, I think. Something like that. And so a normal day, a really active day. So tomorrow I might want to say my goal for fuel is 3,000 because I work out on Monday, Wednesday, Fridays. So you set your goal, and then it's based on your age, your weight, your height. So you put in all these things online on Nike website. And then it says, okay, based on that, you're going to need a certain amount of activity, and so it measures activity going up and down stairs, walking.
So it's like the old pedometer that you just basically measures all the movement you do, at least your walking movement.
It's trying to get you to be more active. And what's interesting about this is, so many of us sit at our computers all day, and more studies are coming out saying you can go work out 3 times a week really hard, and you're still inactive most of your day. It's really bad.
But Gina, the way you sit at your computer all day is without a chair.
Well, I actually started doing that. I now have the standing desk concept, but then my legs start getting tired because I'm standing still. So I'm
saying sitting without the chair. That's really good on your legs.
Oh, yeah, just squatting. Well, or using the ball back here. I have that ball that I'll put in here while I'm working at the computer to try to just remember to keep moving. Although I have learned how to cheat the system, because Kirk will get to the end of the day and he'll need like 10 more points to hit his goal of 2,000. And so he'll just sit there and go like this with his arms. And he'll hit the goal. I go, okay, that's tough.
Wait a minute. How does that work? Where do you wear it? Do you wear it on your legs, your hands?
On your wrist.
On your wrist. Okay.
So it's measuring all movement. If you're walking, that's why it's different than a pedometer that just measures walking.
Right.
Upstairs, a pedometer doesn't work. So this is on your wrist, and so it's measuring. The only thing it doesn't measure, if you were on a bike, you would have to have those bikes that you pedal this way.
The ones that have the hand motion with them?
Yeah. Yeah, we see, and I always think, wouldn't this be a cool invention if we had a giant, if our chair, kind of like one of the exercise balls, if it was a mouse, if it controlled our mouse or our cursor, so that we'd have to scoot and then click with a squeeze. I think we can make some money inventing that. So all day, you kind of do this, and then have a giant keyboard on the floor like the Tom Hanks keyboard, but to type. You jump around and do the keyboard. I don't know. I think that would help. But that's my goal, is being more active in my day where I sit so much at the computer. So, lost weight on the juice only. See, I don't have the willpower, Lisa, to do the like strict dieting. Although I have just said let's get rid of all junk food in the house, and all of us are on a thing of just eating healthier. But I need to increase activity. I got to get more activity going, even though I'm kind of hyper already, but more. So yeah, this is pretty cool.
We had a friend come over this weekend to watch football with us, and they're an older couple, and they bought 2 huge bags of Oreos with them.
Oh, that's bad news.
It was bad news. It was really bad news. But boy, they were good.
Now, what's cool on this, it also tells you how many calories you've burned so far, how many steps you've taken. So it does have a built-in pedometer. I've taken 400 steps so far.
Now, Gina, because you like to talk, and because you are constantly on the phone and everything, you should have one that goes inside your mouth.
My
and
jaw.
every time you talk, you'd be wasting, a couple of calories here and there, and by the end of the day, you'll probably be at 4,000 or 5,000. You forget about working out. Just talk more.
It's true. So now the social aspect of this does have a social aspect. You can go online, of course. You can tweet out your, you can tweet or put on Facebook your post of what your fuel that you burn that day, and you can compete with other people. So because everyone has the same either 2,000, 3,000, 10,000 fuel points you're trying to get, you can actually compete with people that you know or that you don't know. And when I signed up, it said, do you want to connect with other fuel users on Facebook? So you could kind of connect within your community and then, throw out.
Do you ever worry that we're going to become a collective, just a hive? Everybody knows everything you do. And when you move, it's like the Borg. Everything you do, it immediately transmits to the Facebook Borg, and you are just part of the collective. And everybody knows what you've done. That's kind of weird, but...
That is kind of weird.
It's a little scary if you think about it.
It's happening.
And we relinquish it willingly. That's what I really find interesting.
Yeah, I know. That is. It's kind of interesting to look at how we share everything that we do.
Yeah. Well, at least some of us.
Yeah. There are a lot of people who overshare.
Yeah. And there's some who undershare.
And some, like you, who, or like I always call Kirk. He's on Twitter. He's been on Twitter for 5 years now, maybe longer. He's a twatcher. He just watches on Twitter. Right. He doesn't ever post. So there are lurkers or twatchers out there. And that's okay, too, because you can learn and you can use Twitter as an RSS feed, and nothing wrong with that. So...
I actually got removed from a list yesterday on LinkedIn. No, I'm sorry. Yeah, LinkedIn. Because according to them, I wasn't on long enough, or I wasn't contributing enough, and so therefore they're helping remove spam or clear up my inbox. I was going, that's presumptuous. And 2, I have been posting, but I guess they didn't like what I posted. I think what it really was, they didn't like what I posted, and I went, wait a minute. That's an interesting way to censor people.
I've never heard of
Actually, it wasn't even something I posted. It was something somebody said on eLearn Chat, and all of a sudden I went, wait a minute. I think I just got censored for something I didn't even say. Oh, well, whatever. I'm gonna rejoin the list today.
That is interesting. Lisa said she wasn't posting somewhere, so she was removed as well. So I wonder if they go through and say, we only want people who are really contributing.
I guess, but, the whole idea is, why should you have to post? Maybe you just want to read what other people are posting.
Right.
These are technical forums.
That's really interesting. I had not heard that.
That's the first time.
Some newsletters that say it's a free newsletter where it's all tips.
Right.
But they say the price of the newsletter is you providing content occasionally. So that's kind of an interesting thing of, that's what happened. That's weird. I've never heard that. Now I have one last thing to share, and this is for people who know they should blog more often, but just don't have the time for their businesses to blog. I came across this site a couple weeks ago and hadn't had a chance to check it out. And it's called Blog Mutt, M-U-T-T, blogmutt.com. And I thought, okay, I'm going to just test it out to see what kind of articles do they write, what kind of posts do they write. I'm blown away. As a matter of fact, I sent Scott, I think Scott Yates is the CEO. It happens to be a Colorado company. He's based here in Colorado. Most of them live in Boulder. And they started this company as a group of bloggers who decided, why can't I blog for other people? Which at first you think, well, how can somebody blog for you? Isn't that too personal? It really depends on your business. And I thought, you know what? I've been blogging well, because of our whole web, redesign and rebranding and everything, I slowed it down so I didn't have so much to transfer over. But, I was only blogging a couple times a month. And I thought, I really need to get more consistent once a week, twice a week, something like that. And then I thought, let me just test these guys out. So for $79 a month, you get 4 blog posts a month. So 1 a week for $79. Now that's actually a really great price. I know a lot of our clients are wanting us to bring on someone that can write blog posts for them. I'm thinking now this is a much better way to do it. And so far I've received 2 blog posts. I just signed on maybe 3 days ago. They already sent me 2. So they'll send you several blog posts in a week for you to review, and you pick one. Now maybe you like 2 of them. You go, I want both of these. You can, but you pay for your $79 gives you 4 for the month. And then anything more than that, you pay extra. But what was really cool was you put in your keywords, you put in the style of your writing, so it asks you some questions. Are you more research? Are you more sales? Are you more, so they kind of can gauge, and then they look at your website, they go to your website. I was really impressed, and so far both of the articles, I haven't used any of them yet. I probably will post one of them later in the week. Really cool, really great service.
Now, do they post the same blogs for different people?
No, that's one.
So they're unique to you.
They are unique to you. I'm wondering, do they gather facts? It'll be interesting. I want to see if I can get Scott on our show to tell us kind of how it works. But I'm guessing they might have a bunch of research already done in your area of focus. And so if they have another client that's similar, they can use similar facts and sources.
That's interesting.
Yeah, it's really interesting.
Now, have they ever written anything yet that you're not that happy with?
Both articles, I was like, I would use both of these.
That's good.
Yeah, one was, and I said specifically I wanted to find out more articles and get more resources for social media at hotels.
Well, you know also that half the books you read out there were written by ghostwriters.
Well,
the authors don't really write their books. When you look at how many books very busy people write, you go, there's no way they can write that many books with their schedules.
Well, here's the thing, too. Companies like HubSpot, they pump out so much great content every day. Well, I found out they have 15 people on staff. That's all they do is write content.
Right.
So it's kind of like hiring on a person to write for you, but you're not having to pay them a salary. You pay. You can edit. You can request edits. You can also request, like they had some links in there that went back to my site. They also use keywords, so you would give them the keywords or phrases that you want in the blog.
Now, I have a question for you. I'm going to be devil's advocate. You now let out that people are writing your blog. Do you think that diminishes what people, if they find out that they don't want to hear other people, they want to hear you?
Well, it's interesting because I look at it and go, I mean, all my blog posts have always been just me, which I always thought that was kind of bad. It was too one-sided. I thought, my goal is to provide resources for people on how to build a more social business.
But that's your blog. I mean, that's your stuff.
Now, my personal blog, I have one called Gina Unplugged. That's just kind of random stuff and things that I want to write about that are not work-related. But my business blog, I want it to be about resources. I want to provide resources that are helpful, so I really don't need it to just be my voice.
Okay.
Yeah, so you would have to, I don't think it would be a good match for everyone, but I think if you're a business and what's heavy on your shoulder and keeping you awake at night is, I know I need to blog. It's kind of like, and on their website it's pretty funny because on their frequently asked questions, one of the questions is, shouldn't I be writing my own blog? And their answer is pretty funny. This is what sold me on them. I love their writing style. Their answer was, yes, and you should also be exercising 3 times a week, and you should also be drinking 8 but we can't do it all. So, if you're a company that's dealing with that, of saying, I have so much to juggle, and you're a small business, I'd say check it out. And test it for 1 month.
Actually, they'd be interesting to get on.
It would, because I'm really...
If it was a Scott Yates?
Scott Yates.
It'd be good to have him on. That's a real interesting concept, and it kind of takes ghostwriting to a whole new level.
It really does. And again, I think it takes some pressure off of small businesses who are not blogging at all because they just don't have the time.
Right.
And if it can help drive traffic to your website, and they're helpful resources, like you don't want an article that's just filled with keywords and it's not helpful. But if it's a helpful article, why not? Look at how Twitter works. We don't just share our content; we share our content and others that we aggregate and share from other people. So
yeah, that's cool. That's interesting.
Yeah. So a great resource that I found and I'm testing out. I've had 2 articles that I really like. So
Sounds good. And with that, guess what? We are at the 40-minute mark.
No way we could have filled up 40
minutes. We did 40 minutes. We started right before 8, and it's almost 22.
He did not say the secret word.
Twitter.
No.
So what is that?
Look at your screen.
Yeah. Oh, hold on. Let me zoom in on you. Your what? What is that? A watch? Or is that your band?
What kind of band is it? See if you remember.
It's your fuel band.
There you go. He said the secret word. The secret word was fuel.
I said fuel before.
Did you?
Yeah, I said Nike Fuel. I think I said the word as Nike or something like that.
And the chat room goes wild. Yay!
So, did I win?
Yeah, but we didn't. We also snuck in the word Pinterest several times because we talked about coming up in February.
We did. And we even put in Larry's Viking cap.
Could we fit any more?
I don't know. I mean that's pretty broad. That's
broad. Everything.
We've got everything.
Instagram,
Larry, his horse, and a sword. We need a sword for Larry. Sir Larry, we knight you.
That's right. I have a sword. Kirk collects swords.
I have a sword too. I have about 3 swords. I think I have maybe 2.
Swords, totally random topic, but since we're throwing in random things, I don't know how people sword fight because they're so heavy.
Well, yeah, that's why when you watch it on TV, it looks really good. But when you actually have to use one of those swords, like the Braveheart sword, I have a William Wallace sword or the Braveheart sword.
Huge.
It's called a claymore. The thing weighs about 9 pounds, and it is not that easy to. No. Yeah, they're a lot of fun. I like swords.
We could say we've thrown in swords, Braveheart,
horses, Vikings.
Yeah. So next week, tune in because we have Marty McPadden and Misty. It's 2 for 1. Misty McPadden, Marty and Misty McPadden, and they are from Blog Jam, and we will be chatting with them.
That sounds fun.
About social business, helping you stay social, helping Rick get social.
I am social, in a very antisocial way.
Yeah, with a little circle, like Kirk always says. If you're in the circle. Okay.
I'm more social than most and a lot less social than the rest.
That's a very accurate statement. Yeah. Well, Lisa, Larry, all of you who have tuned in live, some of you logged in, some of you did not. Thank you for being here live. We'll have the replay up later. It'll be on YouTube, and then we'll kind of shout out all the links if anybody wants to watch it again. You know, who knows? You might want to just pop some popcorn tonight.
That's right. Bye, everyone. Have a great one. And if you're watching in the chat room, we appreciate it. And if you're watching later on, subscribe to the show. It lets us know that more than one person watches, so that's always actually good.
It's always good. By
the way, Gina, you want to hear something really funny? We're getting more views on Vimeo, which has been basically inactive for 6 months, than we are on YouTube.
It's weird. We still can't figure that out.
We're getting a lot more views. It's bizarre. Somebody said recently that YouTube makes you watch at least half, if not 3/4 of a video before you get credit. Well, on a long show, that means they could, put it on pause, go somewhere else, and then come back. You don't get credit for that.
And if they're watching through Facebook, it doesn't count either. Yeah, so, that's an interesting thing to know. When you share a video, your YouTube videos on Facebook, YouTube won't count that view.
No, that's what's really bad, because we look at our numbers right now as far as views, and they're like pathetic. And we're going, that's not right. And then we're watching Vimeo, which is getting quadruple the number and we're not even posting new shows. We think the issue is YouTube. Actually, we may be off YouTube pretty soon. We'll keep it on YouTube, but we're probably going to either go back to Vimeo or self-host, or go to back to Apple iTunes. I don't know. We're looking at different things to
who watches, because Deb, Larry, Lisa, all of you in the chat room, there you go.
Yep.
It's all about you.
That's right.
Have a great week.
Have a good one, everyone. Take care. Thanks, Gina.
Bye.
Bye.